Great. Okay, for Kim from ASAP, starting from your left will be Mikasa Robinson, Kiana Smith, and Haley Van Lith. Okay, ladies, if somebody asks a question for all of you, let me call on you individually so the transcriber knows who's talking. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to go. First question from the room. Also, identify yourself and your organization, please, the first time you talk.
Rich Becker, University at Albany. Ladies, since you've had a good amount of time since your last game, what have you been doing individually or as a team to stay sharp?
Haley and then Kiana.
I think our team personally, we've just been working on cleaning up things that we feel that we need to get better at. Obviously, the ACC tournament didn't go how we wanted, so we learned from that game and we worked on those things, and we plan to carry it over for this tournament.
Yeah, just different actions defensively we worked on that we had miscommunications during our losses, and then a lot of endgame situations as well.
Because
Yeah, just to piggyback off them, just, making sure that we stay together as a team in that fourth quarter, making sure we huddle, we keep our composure, just different things like that.
Okay, next.
Paul Lee Cardinal couple. This one's for Casa. Casa, when you take a look at this Albany team, is this pretty much a situation where you all just want to play your game and make them adjust to you, or is there specific things that you're going to be looking for in them?
No, Albany's a great team, and we're super excited to play them, but, we just want to really focus on us, make sure we play all four quarters, and, just make sure we have good chemistry and teamwork throughout the whole game.
Tim?
This is for Haley. Is there a tendency when you get up 15, 16, 20 points to let up and how do you guard against that, given what's happened twice this year?
Yeah, I think it's common for everyone, really. It's just like a natural tendency when you get up, maybe to relax a little bit. I think that it's good we learned our lessons early because now we know going into the tournament that we have done that before, and so we've been through it. And yeah, we all of our practices have been built to like put us in situations like that so that we can continue to improve. But yeah, I'm very confident in us going into this tournament.
Cam?
Kent Taylor from Wave TV in Louisville. Mikasa, for everyone else, can you describe, since you've been through it, what the atmosphere is like for an NCAA tournament game here? I mean, you guys have a great home atmosphere normal, but it kind of takes it up a level, doesn't it?
The atmosphere that we have here, it's just, I think we could just compare it to how we've had it all season. We've got the best fans in the country, and I think they're going to really show out for this March Madness for us. But just the intensity of the game changes in a way that I'm super excited for the rest of my teammates to see.
For Haley, you mentioned how confident you are in this group. What about this team you think will be able to carry you guys deep into a tournament potential Final Four run?
Yeah, I think this team, we just play all facets of the game. We can score, we can defend, we can heat a team up, we can make a team execute. We can score in multiple different ways. We're deep. We have a lot of talented players, and I think that's something that is really important going into the tournament. Just to make scouts harder, make it harder for teams to take away what you want to do. So I just think our overall, the makeup of our team and how we play all different types of basketball is what's going to help us in the long run.
This one's for Mikasa. Kind of going off of what Haley was saying, I mean, you've been here the longest and seen a lot of good Louisville teams. What makes this one different or maybe better suited to make a really deep run?
Yeah, I definitely think that this year we have a really good chance just because of our competitiveness, our drive. Everyone has the same goal, and I think we have a lot of passion on this team to put our egos aside and get to the same place, and that is a national championship.
Kiana, we asked both of them, so I just kind of your thoughts too on what you think will allow this team to go deep into the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's our versatility. I mean, we have a lot of people that can cause mismatch problems on the other team, Emily being one, and our guards. So I think our versatility will allow us to make a deep run this year, too.
Really, for all the players, I don't know how much women's basketball you watch other than ACC. I'm wondering if you can give us maybe a capsule of your perception of where the strength is in the country, beyond the seeds, just what teams that you look at as the teams to beat.
Kiana and then Haley.
Well, I think the ACC is one of the strongest conferences in the country, and I feel like that's why we are prepared for the NCAA tournament so far. But obviously, every conference has people that can make deep runs in the tournament, and we just have to take each team one by one instead of looking ahead.
I mean, for me, there's a lot of great teams at the tournament. Like, that's what all the great teams make it here. But if we were worried about other teams and who we think is great, we're taking focus away from ourselves. And really, all of our losses this year have been because we took the focus away from ourselves. So I think that going into this, there is a lot of great teams, and we'll take everyone very seriously and give them the respect they deserve. But at the same time, we're the main focus for us, and we're not really too focused on any other team here.
Casa?
Yeah, I completely agree with Haley.
Mikasa, for you, sorry. This is a group that you haven't lost multiple games this year. You didn't lose multiple games last year. You usually bounce back from a loss pretty well. What is it about this group that allows you to do that? And you feel like you're coming into this tournament, do you feel like you have something to prove after the ACC tournament loss coming into the tournament?
Yeah, I think that this group's just very coachable. We're willing to change to do whatever it takes to win, and I think that we're going to come out, we're going to execute, we're going to change some things and be successful in whatever we do.
Austin Getz from KHQ-TV in Spokane. Haley, from Kashmir all the way to Louisville, can you just talk about your journey both as a basketball player and the physical distance traveled to get here, and what it means to you? And as a follow-up, did you follow Kashmir in the state tournament this year?
I mean, yeah, I did come a long way to play basketball here, but that's what I wanted. You know, I wanted to play at one of the best schools in the country, and a lot of them happen to be far away from Washington. So, I mean, I really didn't have much option, but I'm not a homebody or nothing like that. I love it here, and I love my teammates. And it is hard sometimes, but my family's great. They'll be here for these 2 games, and yeah, I mean, I did keep up on the Kashmir girls in the tournament. My high school coach texted me a few times, but yeah, so that's it.
This one's for all of you guys. Jeff has talked about before priding this team on being really good on a scout and being able to dive into that. I feel like in a tournament setting that really changes with you have to be able to do it quickly. How does that affect preparation in a tournament and having to turn around so quick?
Mikasa and then Kiana.
I think for us, I don't think we'll find it very difficult because I think we have the best scouting coaches in the country. So I think if we just follow the game plan and trust what they say, we'll be good.
Personally, I like that. I love that part of the game, like the X's and O's and like the chess match between different coaches. And we trust in our coaching staff, and they have us prepared before every game, and we feel ready to play whoever because of that.
Haley.
Yeah, I mean, like Ka said, we definitely have the best coaching staff, just scout-wise, and they prepare us as much as you can. They give us everything we need, and it's up to us to go out on the court and follow through with that scout. So there's no reason that we shouldn't be prepared.
Haley, take you way back to, you remember your very first contact with Louisville's coaching staff, and if you do remember that, what was your impression as you came away from that initial impression?
I mean, maybe like 8th grade was the first time I talked to Louisville, but it was a long time. I think I got a lot more serious about a year before I committed, when I actually played for Coach Walz with our U19 team down in Thailand. And I kind of I was in a spot where I was trying to feel other schools out, and I really liked his coaching style, and I thought I could be successful here, so, and I wanted to win, so I took it.
Tom?
What did you guys think of the news that Sam was taking another job and will be moving on?
Kiana? And Haley.
I'm just super happy for him. Obviously, as an assistant coach, that's what you want, is to be a head coach. And he deserves it. He works his butt off, and just super happy for him and the opportunity to go from one Power 5 school to the next. And I know those girls are going to love him and his personality and his energy, so I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, Purcell, he's my guy, man. Everyone on the team knows, that's my coach, and we're really close, and we have a great relationship, and he treats me like family, and he puts up with me when I want to work out all the time and rebounds for me and all that, and I'm going to miss him a lot, but it's his time, and he's worked really hard for this, and he deserves this opportunity, so I'll clap for him, and I'll keep up, and we'll keep our relationship, but it's time for him to take the next step.
Casa?
Yeah, just like Haley and Key said, I mean, we love Purcell, but he deserves this more than anyone, and I'm super excited for him and his family.
For all the players, could you talk about last year's tournament and the unequal treatment of women's players compared to this year?
Mikasa, then Haley.
I think just as a women's game, we're growing a lot, and last year I think it really put the women and the men on a different platform, and it showed that we as women deserve just what the men do. So I think that this year we're looking to see a lot of improvement, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's sad to say that last year it's not like we were surprised. It happens a lot, and we were very used to it. We were very used to being treated as less, not being invested in the same. And I've heard that there's supposed to be a lot of changes this year, and I really hope they happen because we deserve it. And our game is very exciting, and we're fun to watch, and we work hard. So I really hope that things are followed through with this year.
Kiana?
Yeah, I guess it's unfortunate that it had to happen that way last year, but I'm glad that it's been it was eye-opening for a lot of people that we are treated a little bit differently, and I hope that we can see some changes in this tournament. I know we're now labeled as March Madness as well as the men, so there's a start.
And adding to that, how were the swag bags this year?
Haley? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Kiana.
We haven't really got to see it yet.
Yeah.
We just got here, so.
Haley?
Yeah, we haven't seen nothing.
You want to add to that one?
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't seen it, sorry.
Okay. Anybody else in the room? Tim? And back in the back, sir.
Maybe for Kiana and Mikasa, since Haley's already kind of addressed this. Is there a need for a killer instinct with this team, given what's happened in a couple of fourth quarters, and how do you cultivate that if there is?
I think naturally all of us are pretty competitive. Like Haley said, it's natural for when you're up 20 or 15 to kind of not relax, I guess relax a little bit, but we've learned from it. If we see that situation again, I can guarantee you that we will be better for it. And yeah, gosh.
Yeah, I agree. Just practices have been different. When you practice like that, it transfers into the games, and I think we just have a sense of urgency to us with this being our last, hopefully, 6 games. So I'm excited to see what we do.
Can you elaborate on how practice has been different?
Oh, the intensity, most definitely. A lot of fourth quarter scenario things, really just working on our basketball IQ in late game situations.
Yeah, and we've been focusing on winning every drill, and if we're down a drill, we relate it to the game. This is the last 30 minutes of practice. We have to finish strong, not let up our intensity and stuff like that.
Okay, last question.
For all three of you, kind of going back to the Sam Purcell changing jobs, is there maybe a sense of urgency isn't the word, but a kind of a added goal to send him out with some hardware with this tournament run?
Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, any kind of press around us is going to be good for Purcell and help him do well at his program, and people buy into what he can do as a coach. And so I think, him leaving definitely added a little more of this is our time, this is our one time. But we're really in this for each other, and Purcell's a part of that group. But every single one, we got seniors that aren't coming back too. So there's a lot of people that this is their last run, and we want to make it memorable for them.
Kiana?
Yeah, Purcell's one of the most passionate people I've ever been around. The man has Final Four on his license plate, so so definitely he adds a little bit of motivation as well for this Final Four run.
Yeah, he puts his blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I think that not only does that show in him, but he pushes that towards us too. His passion, his drive, I think that motivates us, and so I think he deserves this as long as the rest of my team.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach Walz.
I just first want to say thank you for everyone that's here. I want to say thank you to all of our volunteers from our athletic department that are giving their time to make this an unbelievable event for all 4 teams. And just really looking forward to getting this thing started and having the opportunity to be back playing in the NCAA tournament.
Questions from the floor?
That's a loud camera. I'm breaking the damn thing.
Jeff, Mikasa said that the practices since the Miami loss, the intensity has gone up. You guys have worked a lot about like end game situations. I imagine that's purposeful, and just how much have you seen growth from them in terms of from that perspective?
Well, our practices have been really good. I've been proud of them. You know, I was out on the road recruiting there for a few days the week after the ACC tournament, and they still had really good days of practice, which makes you feel good. And I don't think it's just from that Miami loss. I've said it, guys. It was my fault. I had bad combinations on the floor at the end of a game. I would have never had those combinations out there if we weren't looking at possibly playing 3 games in 3 days. So the kids did a great job for 35 minutes, and I sucked for 5. So it's reality. So our practices had nothing to do with that. They are excited. They're looking forward to the opportunity to compete again. You know, it's what you play the entire season for, is to have the opportunity to play in this event. Now, at the same time, I always tell them, you're not going to decide, your season's not going to be determined by one game, because it is a body of work. But what we've put out there has given us the opportunity to be a 1 seed, host here for the first 2 games. Hopefully, you've got to get past the first one. And the players, you know, we have a lot of veterans back that had the opportunity to play in an Elite 8 game that, you know, would like to get back and see if we can't go a little bit further. And it all starts with how we prepare, and we've prepared what I think is really well.
Eric?
It's such a long layoff from that last game to your first tournament game. Are there special challenges? Have you changed over the years? I mean, I know the tournament format changes some, but what challenges does that bring?
Well, it's really, I don't think it's bad for us. You know, it is a 2-week layoff between games, but it gives you time to get kids healthy. You know, you've got some bumps and bruises, and now you're able to sit there and, you know, taper practice back some. So now I feel really good where we are health-wise. You know, you're never going to be perfect. At this time of the year, if you've got a player that doesn't want to play because they're sore, then they shouldn't be playing. Because you can't play 29 games and be practicing for as long as we have to not have some bumps and bruises. But we don't have anything that's a nagging injury that's going to keep somebody out of a game. So, and then we are able to work on situations. So, you know, you spend a day just working on sideline out of bounds, you know, 20 seconds to go in a game, advancing the ball up the floor, fouling in the last 20 seconds of a game if you got two fouls to give, you know, things like that. And that's what we were able to do, is to work more on situational things. And then as soon as the draw comes out, then you're back to practice. You're back to working on exactly what you always do. We're preparing for our first round matchup. And, you know, I know I'm supposed to say Albany, but damn, I'll stutter on that all damn day. So I hope it's okay if I just say Albany. I'll never get that Albany out very, very smooth. So, you know, that's what we have put our time and effort into, is working on them.
Matt Coatney, Huskers Radio Network. Jeff, we remember you in Lincoln very well, and I think it's very interesting the year that Paul Sandiford has been named to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, that you have a potential, if Nebraska and Gonzaga falls Nebraska's way, to possibly play Amy Williams, one of your former players that you coached as an assistant under Paul Sandiford. I wonder if you could reflect a little bit about your time at Nebraska and what Paul Sandiford has meant to you in your career.
No, I appreciate that. No, I'm really just blessed to have been given the opportunity by Paul to start off, back in '95 as a GA at Western Kentucky. And then, you know, at that point in time, you had 2 full-time assistants and then what they called a restricted earnings coach, and year 2, the restricted earnings coach at Western got a full-time job, a head coaching job at Walford. And Paul moved me up to that third assistant, and you went from being a GA to making $12,000, and you were happy. This was wonderful. I mean, it was incredible. So I did that, and then Paul got the job at Nebraska the following season and asked me to go. And it was the best decision that I've ever made. Being able to work with him for 6 years and learn from Paul, is something you can't even put a price tag on. He really, when it came to the game of basketball, he'd break things down in a different way. He watched the game as the game was going on. I learned from him, when you run something at the beginning of the game, don't worry about if you score. Watch how they're guarding it, because at the end of the game, you might need to run that same action, and then you might have a counter because they switched the first time. Just things like that. And I love my time there. Met a ton of great people, still have really good friends out there. I bought my first house there. It's times like that you can look back now and just realize if you do things right and you're a good person and you treat people right, you continue to keep friendships. And to me, that's what it's all about. And, for Paul to be able to have the opportunity to finally get the recognition that he's deserved for so long, and that's to get into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, is pretty special. Him and his wife Yvette hopefully will be up here tomorrow. They're coming to watch both games. Amy was a senior, our first year there, and God, she had tore ACL. She had a whole bunch of injuries that she had overcome, and just excited to see what she's done throughout her career as well. I mean, just done a remarkable job, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to just have Paul here tomorrow to be able to see, yourself and Jeff Greesh and Amy, and it's what it's all about.
Here and then Jody.
Jeff Richbecker from the University of Albany. First of all, thank you for trying on our branding.
I'm trying, buddy. When you stutter, it's not easy.
You're right, it's not. So could you provide us, from what you've seen on film, an overview of what you're seeing from the University at Albany team? See, I did it as well.
Yeah. Hey, I'm very impressed. I've told our kids the 3 years that we've had the opportunity to be a 1 seed, this is by far the best 16 seed that we will have faced. And we faced a really good Boise State team a few years ago as a 16, so that's a compliment. Very well coached, a very disciplined team. They shoot the three well. They play hard. I mean, they're scrappy. They're not going to roll over. It's not going to be a game where you just show up and, hey, it's our home floor. We're supposed to win. We're a Power 5 from the ACC and expect them to quit. That's not going to happen. So we have spent a lot of hours breaking film down. Our kids are prepared for them because we have a ton of respect for them. It's not a game where we've sat here for 2 days and prepared for a Gonzaga or a Nebraska matchup, because I've got too much respect for their coaching staff and their players to do anything like that.
Jody Dimling with Cardinal Authority. In regards to that, you have a veteran group with some pretty strong leaders, so do you kind of not have to worry about them? I mean, obviously you're preparing for this game and focus on this game. Sometimes teams can look ahead on their own. Do you have to worry about that with this group because they're so veteran?
I'm not sure if it's that. I mean, my foot's been in their tail for about 4 straight practices. So I think our staff has done a pretty good job to make sure we understand what's at stake. We do have a veteran team, but we also have a fifth-year senior in Chelsea Hall who's never played in the NCAA tournament. Emily Inksler, as good as she's been, and she's been fantastic for us, has never been past the first weekend. So we have some kids that are playing a lot of minutes for us who really don't have a bunch of NCAA tournament experience. Now, you sit there and you've got Mikasa, you've got Haley. We have some that have, obviously, from last year. But I'm not going to sit here and say we're Sam Furing, Mai Shines Allen, Kylie Shook, Jasmine Jones, Asia Durr, experience-wise in the NCAA tournament. Because, God, I had 5 of them that had been to a Final Four and a couple of Elite Eights. You know, so we're still relatively young from NCAA tournament experience side.
Jeff, I don't know how much film you've watched. I imagine it's quite a lot. But how do you explain a 6-foot guard averaging almost 10 rebounds a game, and is that the level of competition, or does Kayla
No, it's
have
pretty
some
impressive.
special skills?
No, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's something that we're going to have to continue to get. You know, like we're going to have to defend, we're going to have to rebound. I need all of our kids to play at their best. There's no question about that, and that's at both ends of the floor. We've got to rebound. We have to defend. It's going to be. I'm telling you. I know everybody's expecting like this game tomorrow to be a piece of cake. I'm not. And then I've said it for 3 months now. I truly believe we are good enough to get to a Final Four. There's no question in my mind. But we can also lose any game along the way. We've got to be at our best, and that's going to take every single one of us.
Coach Will Clark, WHAS Radio. You talked about the relative youth of your team when it comes to the NCAA. Last year, the tournament was all in the bubble. This year, the pomp and circumstances back. The March Madness branding is here. Is there some concern with that youth that maybe you have to kind of bring them back from the spotlight and the glitz of it and turn the focus back to the game?
No, I'm not concerned about that. I mean, I think this is great. I tell them all to soak everything in. This is what you've worked so hard for all years to get to this. I've never been one to say, you know, you have to roll things back, don't get too excited. No, I want to be that way. I can remember in 13 when we beat Baylor in the Sweet 16, and everybody's asking me, how are you going to get your kids back? How are you going to, you know, roll them back? I'm not. I mean, are you kidding me? You know, you want them to be excited. You want them to be on cloud 9. You want them to continue to play that way. So I want them to enjoy this. They should. And I think when you realize what's at stake, you also come out a little more focused and play a little bit harder. And that's what we have to get. We have to make sure we take good shots, take care of the basketball, and then realize you're not going to win any game in the first 5 minutes of it. You've got to be patient and just take things as they come.
Jeff, you talked about the potential of this team as possibly bound for a Final Four. Players up there mentioned competitiveness, depth, and versatility as the strengths that they think could push them there. What trait about this group maybe has you more confident in this one as opposed to years past?
Well, I'm not going to say I got more confidence in this team than I have in years past because each team is different. You know, I mean, that's really every team gives you a different perspective as a coach, and you find out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Now, I like the versatility that we have. I like the fact we have 5 or 6 kids that can score the basketball. You've got to guard us pretty much at all spots. And if everybody's playing at their best, we're really hard to guard. And then we're a pretty darn good defensive team too. But we can't have lapses. You know, and I think I'm extremely confident in this team. But I'd never say I got more confidence in one team over the other team because each year is different. But you know, we have goals in front of us, but right now we take one game at a time. I'm not going to worry about who our second round matchup might be because that's foolish to do.
Austin Getz, KHQ TV in Spokane. I was wondering if you could reflect on Haley Van Lith's development from year 1 to year 2. I know she was a all freshman selection last year, but to make that jump to an all ACC first teamer.
Yeah, Haley's played some really good basketball. I'm really proud of her. I've got a ton of confidence in her. She works. She puts the time in. There's no. It's not an accident that she's as good as she is. You know, everybody was talking about, oh, she's struggling shooting the ball at the beginning of the year. No, it just wasn't going in. She made shots in practice. I've told everybody that. I'm like, guys, nothing's changed. The ball's just going in. In practice, though, it went in. I get concerned because I'm fortunate enough to be at practice about every day. That if I see it going in practice and then just done going the game, I don't worry about it. I'm like, it's going to go. Just keep doing what you do. Keep your routine. And she's playing really, really well right now. And we're going to need that from her as we continue to get ready for tomorrow night's game. And I'm really proud of her. I mean, she's fun to coach. She's got a passion and she's got a fire that separates her from a lot of people. And that's why she's going to continue to be great. I mean, I expect it won't surprise me if she's an All-American next year. I mean, if you look at what she's done this year, it's been pretty damn impressive.
Okay, we'll take our last call from Gary Graves, the AP.
Oh, keep going. Are we in a rush? Gary. He hung up on me.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing from Indianapolis?
I'm great, Gary. What in the world you up there for? Is there something going on?
Yeah, there's some secondary.
Is there a
tournament.
JV game going on up there today or what?
Yeah, I'm making do until I get back to the real action.
Okay, I was just checking.
Okay. I guess in terms of the seeding, I mean, it's not the first time you've been a number one seed, obviously, but how much more appreciative, I guess, in light of the early exit from the ACC, are you to still get that kind of respect? And does that kind of help this team kind of be motivated by that to really fulfill those expectations?
Gary, I think it just comes down to our body of work throughout the entire season. It's obviously a great honor to have the committee consider us a one seed, but at the end of the day, with the early reveals that they show, the only difference was going to be what color jersey we would wear if we ever got to that game. If we would get to the game where we're playing Baylor, it's who's wearing a white jersey, who's wearing a dark jersey. Because if we're the two, Baylor was going to be the one. But we weren't going to change regions because as you looked at everything, you knew whoever was going to be the one was going to be the fourth one. And then that team was going to be the first two. So you're going to play each other no matter what. So, we kind of knew what region we were going to stay in. And, when Baylor got beat in that game, I still didn't know what they do, but our kids weren't concerned about it. Now, it's an honor. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, you put a entire season of work, and that's what you're given credit for. So really, really impressed by our group and excited for it. And now we have to go out and prove that we were deserving of the one seed.
Okay.
We can take a couple more. I ain't got nowhere to go. You got a place to go?
Yeah, we got time limit. Sorry, Coach.
God, see, this is what kills me. I mean, you're trying to spread the good word, and they cut you off. Is there's somebody coming in after me? Who's after me?
They talk individually.
Come on, guys. What do we got?
What was the bar tab Sunday night?
We don't discuss those things. It's on its way to your house. Did you not get it yet? It's snail mail, but it's coming.
Thanks, Coach.
What do you got?
If you got time for one more quick one, just your thoughts on finally things equaling up with the March Madness branding and the men's and women's tournaments on, if not the same, similar footings.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I am always been a big believer in everything doesn't have to be the same. Okay, and I'll say that from day one, and I truly mean that. Everything doesn't have to be the same as long as we're given the same opportunities. Okay? I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it now. Like, I watched the first four games, our women's first four and the men's first four. I know we're talking about going to neutral sites next year for the first four. I personally don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, I looked at the games at Iowa State last night and wherever our second was. Our attendance to go to a neutral site for our first four, I don't know if that's a good thing. For the men, it's sold out. That's great. Now, I think it's great that we have the first four games now. I think we should. That is something that should take place. We should have 68 teams in. But it doesn't necessarily mean we have to go to a neutral site, because depending on where that site is, will those teams' fans travel? I think you try to get it at like they did. It's at the site where they're going to play, and hopefully get more of those local fans of basketball to come. I challenged our fans, come out for the 3:30 game. Come out for the 3:30 game tomorrow, so we can show people that, hey, it doesn't matter who's playing. We love women's basketball here in this city. So there's a lot of things I think the branding, the signage is fantastic. The gift bags, they said that's great for the kids. But I'm not going to say it's always been bad, because it hasn't. The experience that our kids have had over the past 15 years here have been pretty darn good in the NCAA tournament. So I think there's some small things that you'll see. I think March Madness, personally, I think that's wonderful. To use the branding. We'd all say it just wouldn't be out there on the floor somewhere. But now I think that's smart. Because it's what it is for all of us. It's March Madness. Women, men, it does not matter. So I'm excited that some changes have been made. But again, I'm just one that it doesn't have to be the same. The same and always good.
Any thoughts on Kenny Payne?
Who's that? Is there something going on? Is there something going on? No, I'm excited about things. I'm not sure what I can say. My whole philosophy was, if nobody tells me anything, I can't lie about nothing. So I like to be in the dark.
Well, assuming you're not.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to, if it is Kenny, to have someone on the men's side to be able to work with and just and collaborate with. I'm looking forward to it. I think it can really be a good thing. Okay, now I'll go. See, when you stutter, you should get more time.
I see, okay.
I've always said that the 30-second timeout should be 45.
I see, okay. Okay, once again, the recording is available at ncaa.veritone.com, and it'll be up, both the recording and the transcript, fairly soon.